Anything that increases the chance that a person will develop a particular disease at some point during their lifetime can be referred to as a risk factor. It is important to understand that risk factors do not guarantee that a person will actually get the disease. They simply increase the probability or likelihood of it occurring. This concept of risk factors applies to every type of disease, whether communicable or non-communicable. However, in this video, we are focusing specifically on non-communicable diseases, which, as you might recall from the previous video, are diseases that cannot be transmitted from one person to another. Examples of such diseases include coronary heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and various types of cancer. Although classifying risk factors can be difficult at times, they are usually grouped into two broad categories, namely aspects of a person's lifestyle and the presence of harmful substances either within their body or in their external environment. For instance, obesity, which often arises from unhealthy eating habits and lack of regular physical activity, is a major risk factor for developing both diabetes and heart disease. Similarly, being exposed to air pollution or regularly smoking cigarettes are both recognized risk factors for illnesses, such as lung cancer. However, it is worth noting that the situation is often more complex than it initially appears, and multiple risk factors can interact with each other to influence the development of a particular disease. For example, poor diet, lack of physical activity, being overweight, and smoking all play a role in contributing to cardiovascular disease, which affects the heart and blood vessels. In some instances, certain risk factors go beyond simply increasing the chance of disease and are known to directly cause it. For example, smoking has been conclusively shown to directly lead to cardiovascular disease, lung disorders, and lung cancer. This is because the harmful chemicals present in tobacco smoke are known to damage the lining of blood vessels and the cells that make up lung tissue. Similarly, excessive alcohol consumption can directly cause liver damage and liver disease, while both smoking and drinking alcohol during pregnancy can lead to a wide range of health problems for the developing baby. Obesity, which can result from poor eating habits and a sedentary lifestyle, can itself lead directly to the onset of type 2 diabetes. Additionally, exposure to certain hazardous substances such as asbestos or high levels of radiation has been directly linked to the development of specific types of cancer. Beyond the physical effects on the person who is unwell, diseases also have a wider impact that reaches far beyond the individual. They often place emotional and financial strain on the individual's family and friends. In severe cases, the person might become too ill to work, leading to a loss of income, which can affect the financial well-being of their entire household. On a larger scale, a country with a high burden of disease will have a workforce that is less productive overall, and the government may need to divert more public funds into healthcare services in order to manage the growing number of cases. To try and reduce the health and economic burden caused by disease, scientists and researchers first need to understand who is getting sick and why. Through studies, they have discovered that certain groups of people are more likely to have specific risk factors than others. As a result, these groups tend to have a higher incidence of the related diseases. For example, on a global scale, people living in more developed countries such as the United Kingdom tend to earn more money, but they are also more likely to eat too much processed or unhealthy food and spend most of their day in sedentary activities without getting enough exercise. These lifestyle-related risk factors explain in part why obesity and diseases associated with obesity are major public health issues in many developed nations. On a national level within the United Kingdom, it has been observed that people living in more deprived or economically disadvantaged areas are more likely to smoke, consume a poor diet, and avoid regular exercise. As a result, these communities experience higher rates of conditions like cardiovascular disease and obesity. The key point to remember from this discussion is that although there are many different risk factors that can increase our chances of developing disease, and some of these factors may be out of our control, many others are entirely within our power to change. The lifestyle choices we make every day, including how we eat, how much we move, and whether we avoid harmful habits like smoking, play a crucial role in determining our overall health and well-being in the long run.